After waking up in Big Stone Gap and still riding the high of the Rattler from the day before, we proceeded to get ready and roll out, with the end goal being Hazard, Kentucky. The rain still wasn't done with us for the day, so we ended up starting the day off in rain yet again. The downfall from this, unfortunately, was the microphone on my helmet seemed to have shorted out and was no longer working. Leaving Big Stone Gap, we headed up Highway 58 towards Norton. As soon as we could, we jumped off the expressway and started taking some back roads, working our way into town. Somewhere in this town was one of those love signs that Bob's been chasing down for photos. In the end, we ended up finding it, but I never took a photo of it, and I can't seem to find Bob's image of it either. So from here we proceeded north, up 23, and into Wise, Virginia. There was another love sign in Wise that we were on the hunt for. Unfortunately, we had to turn around a couple of times, as we managed to drive right by it and didn't even notice it on the wrong side of the road from where my reference point was. But eventually we got it, Bob got his photo, and we got out. Through all the miles I've ridden on a motorcycle, this section of road had to be one of the most strangest sections I've ever seen. I can't ever recall finding single track roads running through the back countryside anywhere that were, for a lack of better terms, paved. There were some pretty rough sections through here, but if you put a nice ribbon of tarmac, this would be an absolute blast. After spending the entire morning dodging in and out of rain clouds, we decided that we were going to change our route up a bit turn tail, cut a section off, and head for bluer skies. And unfortunately, at this point in time, the trip took a turn in a different direction. Knowing that I had family obligations at home that I should be there for, I took the executive decision to unfortunately bail on my travel partner, sorry Bob, and start cannonballing my way from Kentucky all the way home. Unfortunately, I lack a lot of footage of this trip going back up, heading home. Seeing as this really wasn't the plan and an unexpected departure, I really didn't bother to try and get the camera set up to try to record it, with my primary goal being just covering as much distance as I possibly could. After already being out for a full day's ride, I had another full day's ride ahead of me to try and get to Findlay, Ohio from Hazard, Kentucky. This was going to be long, but it was going to be doable until I ran into some weather. Coming up into Columbus, I started getting notifications about a horrible storm and even tornado warnings. I wish I had the cameras up for this because it was an absolute torrential downpour. Having to ride through much of that and try to get around the back edge of it to continue north, it really delayed me, so I didn't even make it to Findlay. I ended up having to fall about an hour and a half short, leaving me a much longer day the next day.
The next day.
Well, y'all might be a little confused right about now because this doesn't look like Kentucky. And that's for good reason, because it's not. This is Ohio. So after our ride yesterday, we made it into Hazard, Kentucky after having to reroute a bunch of stuff due to weather. Decision was made due to family commitments that I was going to turn tail and head north and head back home. It's not the exact trip I planned, but family's first, right? So after riding 6 hours yesterday and ending in Hazard, Kentucky, I reloaded the bike and started going north. Fortunately, the weather, of course the weather has been the story. The weather was absolute garbage, blowing east to west. So it was interstate. So I took a couple of back roads out to get onto some Kentucky byway, expressway thing. And went hammering down through there to get over to I-75, which I managed to do, and was making reasonably good time on I-75 up towards Cincinnati when a very nasty storm rolled in. Now, there's a storm, and then there was this storm. It was sheets of torrential downpour. It was so bad, I had to slow down to about 30 miles an hour to even be able to see. Oh, and it gets worse. Looking for bailout options to try and get around the storm, I pulled off and looked at the radar. And when I was reviewing what the radar was doing, I got a text message about tornadoes in the area. So that was fun. Managed to take some back roads to try and skirt around some of it around the west side of Cincinnati. Wasn't fully successful, but managed to get out and around most of the heavy stuff at that point. The only problem is it cost me a ton of time. So the plan was from Hazard, Kentucky, to push up to Findlay, Ohio for the night. So we have a preferred stay in Findlay, which is nice. It's cheap, it's reasonable, it's clean, it's comfortable. But with blowing an hour and a half in Cincinnati, it just wasn't going to make it there. I got just north of Dayton. By the time I ran into daylight. So I ended up staying in Vandalia, Ohio last night at a Super 8, just off the side of the highway there. And was up at 5 o'clock this morning, pushing to try and get back home. So I got about a 5 to 6 hour ride to get back to the house, and I'd like to be there before noon, but it's looking like that might be a bit of a challenge with traffic. So we're somewhere north Vandalia and somewhere south of Findlay right now. And I don't like being this close to this traffic because I can't see the debris and all the stuff bouncing around on the roads. Like that. Whether this guy's tires about to delaminate or what, are you just dragging something? But we'll just get by him. Anyway, so that's about the fun of it now. So I'm going to probably push into Toledo for gas, work my way up to Port Huron, fuel and cross there back over into Sarnia, and then I only have an hour shot home from there. And I'm hoping to make all that work by noon. We're about 6:45 now, so she might be a little close, but I'd like to be able to be home by noon, so that's the plan. So after a quick stop at our favorite marathon in Findlay, where I should have been last night, got coffee, topped off the tank, we're going for broke. Went through some pretty thick fog on the way into Findlay though. That was a little interesting. Got down to about 17 degrees. We're back up to 19 again, so that's a little bit better. Unfortunately, we had to time this just right to hit Detroit at rush hour. So that's going to be fun. We'll seem to be making pretty good time. We're in Toledo now. We're normally actually coming down on the street below here in Miami, zigzagging the back roads out of Toledo. This time, we're on the interstate. Hammer down and get it done. There'll be an interesting view of Toledo from here. Can't say I've seen it from the interstate before. I don't know how long it is or what, but I'll get through Toledo, I'll pull off, take a quick break, get the mental game prepared for Detroit at rush hour on a Monday morning. Could not have timed that worse. So, just have to be ready to go play. I think we're just over 3 hours out from home. So we got 2 hours done on the day already. So the pace has been pretty good. Stopped at the Michigan Welcome Center for a quick break before the rest of this fun gets underway. Getting to run through Detroit at rush hour in the morning is going to be fun. So just getting psyched up for that. Because that sounds like a great plan of what to do. But it is what it is for timing. So we're running I-75 up through Detroit. We're going to take a shortcut on Highway 10 over to I-94 and then run that north into Port Huron. Still on pace to make it home for noon, which has been the goal for the morning, so that's gone out pretty well. Need to make up a little bit more time. But other than that, doing okay. God, I love Michigan highways. Jesus. Couldn't pave a solid section to save their life. Well, getting a little bit of a side tour of Detroit due to a slowdown on the interstate there. Google decided to kick me off over here, which, it's alright. Not the greatest end of town by any means, but just passing through. Looks like it would jump right back on I-75 up ahead anyway, so it just gets by that slowdown. Hopefully that's all it is, and everything going forward is nice and smooth. Just want to get through Detroit, get to the other side. About an hour from Port Huron now, so be nice just to get there, and then we're an hour home. So yeah, there's that. The horrible traffic on I-75. Yeah, it was just a diversion to get around the slowdown, which is okay. I'm happy with that. Looks like that actually might have saved us some time. There's the Gordie Howe Bridge. Just paid my toll. Merge right, lanes restricted, Nexus fast, buses only. And now, hey, this is the first time I get to cross the new bridge. Well, the reconditioned bridge. Apparently they're still not done. We got a freighter going by. At the same time, look at that, nice timing. Tug's pushing it along. Jeez, the deck on this thing's already heaved all the shit. Welcome to Canada. Welcome home. Now I gotta get through this as fast as I can, which is not looking like it's gonna be easy. It looks like a massive line. Cars and trucks on this side. I see cars up ahead on that side too, but that's the Nexus. I'm gonna go that way. Cut my ass up here a bit. Speed my way through. Can't see around this guy. See what lanes are open.